I began to record myself, and it didn't feel right because I didn't have jewelry on. Up until recently, perhaps only a year ago, I'd always say I'm not a jewelry person. I don't wear jewelry. But in this moment, it brings me joy and comfort. And one of the main reasons is because I've discovered that I'm autistic and ADHD at the age of 43. And I know how important fidget things are for us, to ground ourselves, stay focused. It helps me to relax, and if I feel anxiety, I'm able to comfort myself. Even though I've lost 2 of these gemstones on here, I believe it's the heart chakra, and I don't know chakras, so if you want to comment below what these chakras are and the ones that I'm missing. I don't know if there's any meaning behind that. However, I still love it. I absolutely love it. And there's some malachite. If you don't know about it, malachite, it's had a very, very important place in my life multiple times. The reason for this video is, as I'm going through my spiritual awakening, which is very, very hard, very, very hard. I'll never, ever claim that it's easy. But I do know that the end result is going to be more than worth it, more than worth it. Just like most things in life are, you have to go through the shit to actually enjoy the good stuff. And that's just the way it is. And maybe that's a motto I need to, yeah, a motto for me in my life. It's always proved to be true. In setting up boundaries with people close to me, they're getting very offended. They're taking it personally. And that's not at all what I mean for it to be. My intentions are good. Why can't they see? I'm understanding now why. Even though at times I still cry. I've cried so many tears the last few days. In the last 24 hours, I've had conversations with 2 people who are close to me, separately. And if I had any expectations, it wouldn't have at all met them. Does it ever, though? So I don't have expectations. However, the outcome was surprising to me, confusing to me at the time. But as I sit alone and I consider, I do understand. As I have conversations with my loved ones, I do my best to listen and to hear and to understand. And even if what they say doesn't resonate with me, they are my friend. They are entitled to their opinion and their perspective, just as I am, just as you are, just as we all are. But I understand that perception is This is why two people in the same conversation can both believe that they're right and both actually be right. There's not a right and wrong. From either's perspective, it's completely different. That's why I can't say that your interpretation of it or your perspective of it is incorrect. And that's why you can't tell me that. You're entitled to your opinion. And that's what I'm telling people constantly. However, and also I thank them for sharing it, for giving me more information to make a more conscious and informed decision in that moment, you know? However, when I do that, and I try my best to understand my loved ones and ask them every pertinent question I believe in order for me to understand exactly what they're saying so I can, better understand them, they get offended. They get irate. They feel threatened. They're coming from a place of ego. They're coming from a place of fear. They're responding from a place of programming, and that's why I've learned how to not take things so personally, even though they're taking out their aggression on me. What I don't understand is, for 43 years, I have done my best to understand everyone around me. And now that I know I'm neurodivergent and autistic and ADHD, I'm able to make sense of why there was such a lack of communication. So I thought, yay, I've got the upper hand now. I understand. Not only can I go back in my life now to put myself in their shoes and make sense of why things happened the way they did and be thankful for it, now I can understand how to communicate with people that don't think like me. That's what I thought. I was sorely mistaken, as you'll see. Because even though I do my best to understand those that I love around me, I don't feel it is reciprocated. I allow them to vent their feelings, their frustrations. I hear, I understand. I allow them their space and time, which is huge growth for me, instead of interjecting as they speak. And if I were to have expectations of someone close to me, I would think that they'd do the same for me. But they don't. And I've been hurt many, many times in my life, and I've cried a lot of tears and had such big and terrible emotions inside of me because of it my entire life. I even tell them it's okay. It's okay that you don't understand my perspective, just like I don't understand yours. Just like not that I don't understand yours, it's that I don't agree with yours. But you're entitled to your perspective and your opinion, just like everybody is, right? But they don't give that back to me. They say you're absolutely wrong. And they get argumentative, and they put their walls up, and they react as though they are triggered to my words. And I struggle to find the answer in that at this moment. And lately what I've been doing is just completely cutting them out of my life, because I know what's important. And I've told many people in last year, which, huge pat on the back, huge growth for me, considering I've allowed people to walk all over me most of my life. And I've got the stories and the scars because of it, the strength as well. And that's why I'm here. one of the many reasons that I'm here. The reasons why I am posting my videos online are many, and they have changed throughout the time that since I first began. And in moments, there are certain priorities. It's hard for me to decipher what the priority is in moments, but I'm becoming more aware of that. Now that I know I'm neurodivergent, I have to consciously ask myself and my body, and when I'm in a calm and comfortable state, without external factors hindering my decision, what's best for me, and that's how I'm finding my most authentic version of myself. One of the reasons why I initially did it, originally, if you look back to my first videos, was because at that time, I felt there was such an injustice in the healthcare system here in Saskatchewan, Canada. It would have been a year ago, February, that I thought I was dying. 5 days I spent in and out of hospital, multiple doctors. You can hear me clicking this. This is my fidget right now. It's keeping me calm and focused, so please don't mind that. And my purpose at that time was to right the wrongs and bring justice to people, including myself, and most of all, to prevent that from happening to anyone else. I'm getting a little bit emotional speaking about it, because as I say it, I can put myself back into those moments. The moments when the pain, physically and mentally, was so unbearable in moments that I found myself asking, telling myself there's a bigger purpose for this. And I know that without a doubt. So in times when I felt weak and I wasn't able to do it myself, I said, this is for all those people out there that don't have a voice of their own. This is for all those people that are suffering needlessly, completely unnecessarily. And once I'm able to share my stories with the world, I know there's going to be a lot of healing. Whether it's within you, whether it's within me. A few other things that helped me while I thought I was going to die. Oh, so I just want to say thank you. I said, I can deal with this pain. I can get stronger because of it. It is not only can I handle this pain and get through it, I will be stronger when I get through it, because there's a bigger purpose, a bigger reason. And there are many I'm now discovering. In other moments when I felt I couldn't do it myself, I knew my dad was around. He passed 2 Decembers ago. Not last December, the December before. And that's a big traumatic thing that's happened for me recently as well. But I know he's here with me all the time. Thank you, Dad. Another thing that got me through, my daughter, Riel. Before I had her, I didn't have a reason to live. And that's the truth. And I would not be here today if it wasn't for her. Or any of the factors or any of the things that have happened in my life. And that's the truth. No matter how bad they seemed in the moment, I can look back and be grateful for everything. The people who hurt me, they only gave me strength. I hope you can see that in yourself one day. In the memories that we've tried to erase. I can say that confidently because until recently, in the last 3 to 6 months or so, in doing my self-healing, I am recalling things that I've not recalled in decades. Things that used to be traumatic for me, things that left a bad taste in my mouth. But when I allow those feelings to come through, instead of bottling them up like we've all been told to do, I'm able to understand the reason behind it. And I'm able to heal from it, and I'm able to release it. And I just want the same for everybody else, to make sense of their entire life and the world around them. So the reason I'm sharing it with you right now is because when I share this with loved ones that I believe are close to me, they don't understand it. And that's not helping me in any way. What's helping me is to share it, whether it's just out loud to the universe, whether for it's me just to record it, to allow this to get off of my chest, whether it's for you to hear it, and to share, like, and subscribe if you like. No pressure. I'm here to find my tribe. And if you're it, I'd love to know that. I'd love to hear about you, where you're from, what brought you here. If anything I say resonates with you, please, please. If you feel alone or misunderstood or unheard, you're not any longer, okay? We are all one. Sometimes it doesn't feel like it, I know. But we have to understand that it's because of the things that we've been taught. Whether they resonate with us or work for us or serve us in this moment is for us to decide. That's how we're able to view the world through the eyes of a child. They say do things as though it's your first time, and for me that was huge. That was a huge task in itself, because I used to be a perfectionist. Not anymore. No. So in many things in my life, I've gone from one extreme to the other, and recently I started asking myself why, and I totally understand now. Because I have to experience both in order to understand what works for me most. And that's why I'm not going to tell you a step-by-step plan. What I want you to do is learn how to listen to your own intuition. That's what I need for you to do, for you to understand what it is that you need to truly do to make you feel joy and happiness and heal from things that are living with you in this moment, whether or not you believe it or know it. I know it. I know that pain, that physical pain inside of my body was caused, even though the doctors couldn't figure it out. I now know it was caused from all of the untold stories, from all of the pent-up emotions, from all of the times I bit my tongue, from all of the times I felt misunderstood. I realized that when I suffer any type of physical or emotional pain, it causes me anxiety. And squirrel, another thing that helped me in my 5 days in Meadow Lake, while I was recovering from a hysterectomy surgery, half a week after. I'll tell that story. Just follow me and you'll get to see it soon enough, I hope. No promises. That reminds me, why do we rush? Slowing down has helped me so much. Learning to slow my mind down. We're always feeling like we're in a rush. But when we cut out the shit that isn't important, we have more time. That's the truth. The things that we believe are important might not be when we actually question it. Anywho, another thing that helped me with my anxiety and getting through those 5 days, marijuana. Absolutely. Up until that point, I had been a recreational marijuana user, and maybe only within the 5 years before that. Remind you, I'm 43. I didn't, when I was offered a joint, I would decline. I'd always say I'm a drinker, not a smoker. But as we change and we grow, so do our likes, so do our needs, that's why we can't be stuck on any one thing. That's why we're literally a different person in every moment. If we're stuck on one thing, we have to ask ourselves why. Was it programmed into us? Was it society, our parents, our ancestors, our teachers, our doctors that taught us this, and we believed that they know better? Just ask yourself that next time. Ask yourself how it truly feels when you consider any certain thing. I digress. Marijuana. It turned into a definitely medicinal thing for me. I smoked so much weed in those 5 days. It helped me to stay sane. And you know how much pain I was in, mentally, physically? I still had no appetite. I couldn't sleep. My thoughts were racing. I had to write. I had to get all my words and my thoughts down. I felt it's so necessary to share them with the world. There were moments where I felt absolutely insane. And there were moments that I felt absolutely genius. You know what they say, there is a fine line. So as I'm going through this awakening and I consider all of the things I've learned in my life, in moments of clarity, when anything occurred in those 5 days, I believe it was from the lack of food in my body. One of the factors for sure, fasting. Not intentionally. But it worked in my favor because in those moments of extreme clarity, if anything happened or occurred right in front of me, in that moment, in my mind, everything that I've ever heard, learned in my life that related to that, I remembered in that moment, and all of it made sense. An example of this is the memes, the quotes from inspirational people. Of course, they mean a lot to me, but until that moment, I had not lived them to understand what they truly mean. And that in itself was such a release, such a relief. It was astounding. It was such a calming feeling to make sense of the things going on in my head, even though nobody around me could. In moments, I felt I was on the verge of something big, cracking the code to what life is meant to be. And I have grown immensely. I will never say that I'm perfect. I don't believe anybody is. I don't believe there is such thing. Because the moment you stop learning and growing, the moment you stop learning and growing is the day that you die. And I do not wish to be another person that is known more in the afterlife, posthumously, if that's the proper word, I'm not sure. I don't want to make the cemetery even more rich than it even is, with the thoughts and ideas that all of these wonderful, beautiful people had. Including my father. I love you, Dad. Another huge reason for me sharing this. I don't want you to feel the pain in your heart that I currently do by knowing that I've gotten to understand my father more in death than I did in life. And at times it breaks my heart. And I try my best to remind myself that everything happens for a reason. And I know this to be true. I've proven it time and time again. Though sometimes the reasons are harder to understand. Sometimes I see them immediately. Sometimes it takes quite some time. And now that I know who my father is, I want to share his stories with the world. From a place of love and light and understanding. And I'm so proud of him. I'm so proud of him. I never got to tell him that when he was here because I didn't feel that way at the time. If you can prevent this hurt in your life, please do. Because now that I know that perspectives change everything. I consider people that have gone decades without speaking because of one occurrence that happened, and instead of having discussion and understanding, they choose to take what they saw or heard, add their perspective to it, and decide that that person did such a thing that they're unable to ever mend fences for one reason or another. But all I know is if you are a good person with a good heart, and they are as well, in taking the time to understand one another's perspective and perception, the misunderstandings could be prevented, the arguments, the disagreements. When someone you love has a reaction to something you say that is so out of left field that you didn't expect it, if you did have an expectation. This is why. And I've lived with that my whole life. I have today, in fact, So in those moments, I take a breath. I know that their reaction is coming from their perspective in that moment. From all of the information they've learned in their life up until this moment, that is why their body, their face, their words decided to involuntarily do this. Whether they realize it or not, sometimes they don't believe it or not. An example of this, a good friend of mine, we were having great conversation. We were totally on the same vibration, the same frequency. We were having epiphany after epiphany. And it was opening my eyes to things I'd never seen. And it was beautiful and it was joyous. Until it wasn't. You see, as I spoke to this person, which I knew was being completely honest with me, I could tell by their body language. But the moment that they told me something and their face did not match what they were telling me, i.e., I absolutely love this, but I absolutely love this. Yeah, it's so obvious to me. So I calmly said, I'm sorry, this just happened with your face. It's 3333 as I just looked. Not going to cheat, I did look at it a couple seconds earlier than that, but if anybody knows me, 33 and 69, I didn't realize how important those numbers are in the world and the universe. But I'm coming to understand that as well. I do have a story for everything. I do. My mother once said to me, Hetty, your word, it's too much for me, it's too much for me. And I calmly said to her, yes, and she's told me to shut up a time or two, and yes, of course I used to take it personally. But now I realize it's not for you, it's for me. Whether I say something out loud and you respond, and if you don't, it wasn't meant for you. That's why I'm writing it down on paper. That's why I'm sharing it with you. Because the world is so much bigger than what we perceive it to be. If it was just me in this little bubble, what would life be? Now it's you and me, you and I, getting to know one another. I hope that in getting to know me, you get to know yourself as well. That's what I hope for. Yes. So, as my friend distorted his face and I called him on it politely, I just want to point out that this is what I said. Can I just point out, like, throughout our conversation, everything has been perfectly wonderful, positive, and I absolutely believed you were being honest with me until a moment ago. I'd like to make you aware. When you said this, your face did this. And I'd just like to know why. Could you explain it to me? And instead of getting offended, the way that I delivered that message actually allowed them to stop and think, take a moment to consider, and question themselves, why did my face do that when I said that? And he came to the realization that that was a past automatic response. It was a knee-jerk response, if you want to call it that. It was automatic, and we do that so much. That's what we don't understand. So many of us are not aware of it. But once we do become aware of it, if we choose to change it, we absolutely can. Absolutely. And I'm living proof of it. I've been saying I'm a guinea pig of the human race. That was wrong. Now, should I take the time to think about it and allow it to consume my mind, or should I get on with it and maybe type it in later when I'm uploading it? I think that's the better of the two ideas. Less stress, less anxiety. We don't have to rush. You don't have to. If it doesn't come to me right now, it will. In divine timing. And reminding myself of that allows me to let go of things a lot more easily. For now, I'm going to say goodbye. And I want to thank you for trusting me, for listening to my stories and my rants and on and on. If it's not meant for you, I completely understand. After all, it's not meant for my close loved ones, so. But if it does, I really mean it. Let me know who you are, where you're from. Anything you want to add to what I've said, or correct me if there's anything, or let me know what these are, if you know more about that than I do. I don't claim to know everything. I just know that my eyes are open, and in learning to understand myself more than I ever have in 43 years, I'm going to share with you what worked for me. And you can take what you want, and the rest you can leave. Thank you.